I got something to say. Sorry I'm a few minutes late. The internet gods were like, yeah, we're not ready for you. But it will be worth the wait. This next young lady, I was actually on her show. And I thought, man, she's the bomb. Lesley, I mean, she really has it going on. And then I was reading her bio. I didn't even know how. It was a surprise and a delight to me how many amazing, incredible women there are around the world. Lesley, how are you?
Hello, Sandy Joy. How are you?
Good. I was just saying, I'm sitting here, I'm on your show. I thought I knew, and then I'm reading your bio, and I'm like, I'm just blown away. And then, where were you? You said you were in Scotland or
I
something?
just got back from Scotland, and hi guys. And I'm home for 10 days, and then I go on a 4,000-mile road trip to 12 cities, and then I come home for maybe 5 days, and I go to Poland. So, woo! Some people relax in the summer, and I get out of town.
Right, but are you doing business and pleasure at the same time, or is it mostly pleasure?
No, the Scotland trip was 50% pleasure, 50% work. We took my dad to Scotland. His family is from there. So we
Ah,
took him there and he loved it. And he's like, "Are you going back next year?" So I think that's what's going to happen is an annual Scotland trip for a bit. Poland will just be for work. And then the road trip, my husband and I love to travel with the dogs. So when we're not working, that will be pleasure, but each city is for work. So yeah, so we mix it up.
yeah. All right, before we dive into everything you're doing, I'm just going to read this little bit about you.
Okay.
Cool?
Yeah, please do.
Lesley Logan, a second generation, I love that, certified Pilates teacher, breathwork, habits and mindset coach, is the founder of onlinepilatesclasses.com, the first ever free online catalog of Pilates exercise tutorials, where you can also find weekly Pilates classes and workshops. Teaching Pilates since 2008, she has run multiple studios, has trained hundreds of people to become teachers themselves, and has taught thousands of students around the world. When not teaching from her studio in Las Vegas, Lesley is hosting her podcast, Be It Till You See It. I love that. Sorry. Be It Till You See It. Or traveling the world leading Pilates retreats. Okay, so they want to know, I asked my peeps before you came on, and they need to know, you said second generation, so who got into it?
Yeah, so it's a little weird in the Pilates world. They use those terms, second generation, third generation. I don't think clients really care, but teachers care. It just means that one of my teachers was trained by Joseph Pilates. So it's like it's not my parents that are. It's not like when we say like my dad is first generation American and his family that's from Scotland.
Right.
That's not it. It's like
Oh,
my teacher was trained by Joe, and so I was trained by him. So people that I train are third generation, which means a lot to them if they are interested in being really close to the source, getting it from as close to what we can know about someone who's been long past and how they taught the method. So that's how I got to be a second generation Pilates teacher at this age. People always like, "How are you that when you're only 40?" And I'm like, "Well, it's because the person before me is still around, still teaching."
okay. All right, man. I just got to dive into your
Yeah.
statement you gave me, because even in your statement, it just was cracking me up. Perfect. I mean, like, nobody. All right, I'm going to start with the beginning. She spells perfect, not perfect, and says perfect is boring. Wait for it, people. Nobody wants to be friends with the perfect person. Person always makes you feel like you're not enough. Okay, of all the statements, I've done this for years. No one's ever said it, and I was like, I knew I loved her. So why did you pick that specific statement to share with women around the world?
Because I think perfection is holding women back from everything, and I think that they're the reason that so many, like, okay, for example, we already know this. This is not a statistic that like I've made up, guys. Studies show that a woman can have 9 out of 10 qualifications for a job, and she will not apply for that job until she has all 10. And even then, she might not apply for the job. But a dude will have 4 out of 10 things, and he'll apply for the job. And so the reality is that like women we're holding ourselves back by thinking that we have to be perfect. And the reality is that like, I don't know about you, but when I went to high school, like I wasn't the most popular girl. Like my hair wasn't perfect every day. My clothes were not what was in style. I didn't have that. And what I realized is I was trying so hard to be like those girls. And it was such a distraction from being present in the moment and getting to know myself. And what I have found as I've gotten older, thank God, like I love that I gotten older and learned this.
I love that I got older. Wait, women, I love that I got older.
I know. I love it. I'm 40 and I'm loving it. Like I love it. I love that I've gotten older and learned that, as soon as I started allowing myself to just do the best I could and like let that be enough, I learned so much more about myself. I learned more about what people need. I've learned more about what I like to do, right? So many people wait till the thing is perfect before they put it out into the world. And the reality is that perfect is so, it's like, it's very much in context. It's in the eye of the beholder. And even if you do the exact same thing tomorrow, it won't be the same because everything has changed. That's what inertia is. It's what the stars are moving. So there just isn't such a thing. And I just want more and more women to be able to remind themselves of that mantra and tell yourself it until you believe it so that you actually put out in this world what you're the only person you can do. As a Pilates instructor, Pilates is a really funny thing. It attracts perfectionists. It really, really does. It attracts these people. And then them being perfect, they're actually not even getting connected because you learn more about connection. And I know you used to own a gym. You learn more about your body when the form isn't right or when you're learning it and making mistakes than when you actually are trying to do it perfectly. And then it's just not, I don't know. I hope it's making sense.
It makes perfect sense. Oh, I mean, well, not perfect sense.
It makes amazing sense.
Awesome sense. Oh, I love you to pieces. I'm so, yeah, I used to, teach my classes. And I'm probably going to start doing it again because I miss teaching. And I would do anything to do it wrong or goofy. I mean, even to the point where my butt crack could be showing now and then, just for people to laugh about themselves.
They feel more comfortable. They actually do. And it's you're a human being and it feels welcoming. And I think I can say this, I'm a recovering perfectionist, and somebody I was interviewing was like, well, you'll never be recovered. And I said, well, no, because that would be a perfect thing. Like if I was searching of being in full recovery, that's a perfectionist tendency. Like I'm going to be in recovery forever. I constantly am catching myself. There's certain things that I'll send a text. I'm like, oh, I don't like the way I wrote that. Well, that is a lesson. I don't have to mull on it any longer than I didn't like that. What didn't I like about that? I'll try better tomorrow. So if we can just give ourselves permission, we actually invite more and more people to the party. Everything becomes more accessible for everybody, no matter if it's movement or public speaking or whatever it is. Right. And we actually put more things out into the world and get feedback sooner. It's just all feedback, it's not going to be amazing anyway. Some people are going to like you no matter how perfect you are. So it doesn't really matter.
It does. And and I do a lot of speaking engagements, and I learned from, I don't know if you ever heard of Louise Hayes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. She was like, when you get off that stage, don't think of everything you didn't said, you should have done, blah, 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 blah. Give yourself grace, celebrate you were up there. If you want to, wait a week or so and look at, okay, how can I improve upon that? But guess what? They don't know what your speech was supposed to be. You're right. They just, how you made them feel. You know,
Yes. Oh, you hit the nail on the head. That's what I teach I work with a lot of teachers, and they're like, oh, wait, I meant to say this. I'm like, just correct yourself. Like, they don't need, the best public speakers don't go, oops, hold on, I forgot what I was going to say. Let me go back. They just put it back in there. Let me circle back to this one topic. I want to dive in deeper. Like,
yeah,
find these little phrases, but also I want to highlight, you said, Louise said, make sure that you celebrate that you did it. Give yourself some grace. If you want to be good at something, if you want something to be part of your life, if you want to have fun with it, if it's a habit you want to build, you have to celebrate what you did do. And you have to, even if you didn't, let's say you want to run around the block and you didn't. I'll actually use myself, for example. I've been wanting to actually use my walking desk. And I meant to have time to set up my walking desk today so that I could be on my walking desk while doing my Zoom calls. And I didn't, I ran out of time. If I had gotten mad at myself, oh, Lesley, you didn't set up your walking desk. Here's another thing you just didn't make time for.
yeah.
You obviously don't care. If I judge myself on that, guess what my brain isn't going to do later today? Find a way to make time for the walking desk, because I just brought stress to my brain. I just made it a perfect scenario. The scenario has to be so perfect. But instead, if I go, oh, I remembered I wanted to set that up. Well, pat myself on the back. Good on me. I'm so happy I remembered that. I can't wait to try and do that again. Maybe I'll play around with that later. If I actually celebrate that I even just remembered that I wanted to do it, it creates dopamine in the brain. The brain is addicted to that. That's why we're all here on social media. The social media is kicking off dopamines, right? And so if you can kick that off, you can create those habits, and you can make public speaking, you can make going on podcasts, you can make whatever it is part of your life. The kinder you are and the more you celebrate. And then you can go back and go, oh, I wish I'd been better prepared on that answer. Okay, write that down the next week. Go back and review it, and then do it then when you're not so close to it, when you can like look at it more forensically.
Where were you when I started in Pilates and yoga? So there are a lot of amazing yoga and Pilates instructors. But back in, Stone Age, I would go into the class and I couldn't do 90% of it because I was born with hip dysplasia. So my hips are really tilted forward. But I didn't know that. I just thought I didn't have a turn up. And the well-meaning yogis and Pilates would make me feel like, well, if I just kept working on it, I would get it. And that I wasn't one with the universe. And if I was one with the universe, I would be able to.
But I so know, because I actually, same thing. Like when I first got into Pilates too, like people would tell me directions, and I just was like, I just have to keep practicing. Here's the interesting thing that I've actually learned, and one of my teachers, my first teachers that actually made this make sense to me was just on earlier. Karen Frischman will be in Poland together, so I'm so excited to see her. But she and these other teachers, including my teacher today with Joe, what they explained to me is like practicing the thing you can't do over and over again is like a definition of insanity. Like if you just keep trying, it's gonna get better. And it's like, actually, no, that's not how it works. You can't do the thing, so why can't you do it? What connections do you need? Let's go back and do that. So if for example, Olympic runners now, they do not do sprint work to get faster. They actually do a lot of things in the gym with heavy weights and do heavy exploding movements, like jumping on a box, or building strength. The more strength they have, the faster they can actually press off the ground. So what we've learned over time is like just practicing the thing that you want to get better at, like is not always the way. You actually need to figure out where the mistakes are or the weaknesses are, and then go work that. You have hip dysplasia. So what muscle strength do you need to counterbalance what's going on with your body so that you can do the exercise? It's not going to be doing the same thing.
I know, and I did find great Pilates people and yoga people
later
years later
on. Yeah.
They're
And I think
developed.
but I also think like in anything, right? There are people who are naturally good at movement, and so when they become a teacher, they actually, because it was so easy for them, they don't know how to help people who have an obstacle in the way. But those of us who've overcome an obstacle, we can understand that thing. So back when I became a Pilates instructor, most people were dancers. No offense to the dancer teachers out there, but that wasn't me. And so I was not graceful. I was like just not a graceful person moving. And so I couldn't understand why I couldn't look like them. But what happened was, is I actually found more teachers who just taught my body and helped me understand my body instead of making me try to be their body. And then the more you realize, like Joseph Pilates was also not a dancer, he was a boxer. So he probably wasn't graceful either.
Oh,
and
boxers are graceful.
Yeah. I think there's some definite connection there. So, but like when I started to give myself that grace there and go, oh, well, he probably didn't look like the ballerina doing the movement. He probably looked like him doing the movement. So how can I give myself permission to look like me doing the movement? And I think that makes sense. So, it's always helpful. The people who are like, I'm not good enough to do X. Well, you're probably the best person to do whatever X is, because there are people who are needing you to be that person for them, because the other people, it's so natural for them. They don't know how to actually explain it.
Gosh, I love the way you said that. I love it. Because by the way, I was a dance major and a dance teacher. So I'm laughing because, yeah, and the reason is because, like, again, I didn't know why I didn't have a turnout. I thought maybe if I kept practicing and became one with the universe, it eventually came. I didn't find out until I was, gosh, in my 40s, when I swear it was late, and they were like, one of the doctors, he's like, you have hip dysplasia. I'm like, huh? Never knew. But the point was, I did dance because I could tap dance, I could do hip hop, and I made it work for me. And so when I went into classes and saw all these different body types in fitness and dance, I knew how to work with their body type.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's another reason why I go back to like not being perfect, because you're actually trying to change who you are, and who you are is like you're the only person who can do what you do the way that you do it. And so if we try to make you this perfect version of what someone thinks is a dance teacher, then you're actually you're no longer able to meet the people where they are who actually need you, because you know how to help them move. You know what I mean? So like,
I do.
It's just like,
what a blessing you are to these people. What a freaking blessing.
That's how I try. I try really hard.
Oh my God, of course you are. I mean, just your presence, it just makes me all warm and fuzzy. Even if I never wanted to do Pilates, I would just come in the room to watch. That's what I would do. All right, so here you are, a Pilates teacher. How did you decide, I think I want to teach other Pilates instructors? When did you make that leap?
Yeah, that was, pay attention. I tell everyone all the time, like, pay attention to the questions you're being asked, because that's what people think that you must be an expert in. Sometimes they think you're an expert in things that you're not, but like, when I was single, I had a lot of people asking me dating questions, and I was like, that's interesting. I'm not a dating coach, but you pay attention to things you're being asked, and then also like, know that like wherever you are is exactly where you're supposed to be. So I actually happened to be, I didn't feel like my first training program really set me up I didn't feel ready. I didn't feel like I was not taught the way that like I could understand how to teach it. So like I was saying words and people were doing movements, but I didn't feel like I understood what I was seeing. And so I actually put myself in a position to be still an apprentice, so to speak. Like I became an employee at a studio that was very busy. And the woman running the studio, she had been trained by one of Joseph Pilates' clients. And so I just really wanted to learn from her, because she had 12 more years of teaching over me. And I really liked her kindness. And she was really cool. So I would be an employee, and when I wasn't teaching, I would be watching so that I could learn more. And she created a teacher training program while I was there. But she told me about this other teacher trainers that were in Colorado. So I started training from them. Right about the time I finished that, her training program ended, and she saw me teaching people, and she invited me to be a teacher trainer for her company. And so she was the one who suggested that I start teaching teachers. and then she actually was the reason why I started taking from Jay Grimes and Karen Frischman and some other people, Sanya Shimoda, because she had seen me teach and she said, I've really taught you what I know. You should go take where I'm taking so that you can continue to progress. And I just thought that was so cool. Like, I think that takes a lot of confidence, self-confidence, and self-awareness of someone to go, okay, it's time for you to fly over here.
That's true.
And so that's when I ended up really even more understanding Pilates, my practice, and teaching teachers, and the permission that Jay gave me to teach clients and not be perfect and not try to over micromanage bodies. What ended up happening is I started traveling around the world to teach. People called me. So again, go back to what people are asking you to do. People are like, will you teach this workshop? And I was like, okay, I guess I'll do that. And so that's kind of how it came to be. And I didn't feel ready ever, but be it till you see it. Like, I was like, okay, here we go. And then people just kept asking me to create a mentorship program. I didn't actually want to do it because I didn't want to create something already that people could, I didn't want to create another training program. I wanted to create something that allowed me to be the teacher I am today. And so I took all the things that I loved from the training programs that I did, and then I changed the things that I didn't like. And, we attract the people that were the best person to teach. And so the people that come to me to learn from me, they're wanting to learn that curiosity. They're wanting to learn how to teach imperfectly and let their clients be safe, but also be in process. And so that's kind of, it was just a long journey. And it really wasn't until last year that I started the mentorship. Before that, I've been teaching teachers for workshops, but it just it's a process where I just let my curiosity happen. And I also took the pressure off myself to be perfect and have this perfect mentorship that made everyone have the same result. Like, I'm not in control of the results that they have. I can only control what I bring to the table. They have to drink the water, right? I can't make them. So and they are in charge of that process. So that took me a long time to get to where I could be comfortable with that. So.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I don't teach Pilates, but I want to teach Pilates just so you can be my teacher.
You can teach Pilates.
I'm telling you,
I mostly teach people who are not teachers. There's this like hidden part of my business that so few people know about. Most of it is just like teaching people to teach themselves at home. Like you're in fitness. We know, like, when people move, when people are connected to themselves, when they have a self-practice of movement, they are better humans in this world. They just are. Whether, of course, I want everyone to do Pilates and whatever they love, but like truly, like people who take the time to be in their body, they have so much self-awareness more than people who don't take the time, or maybe they're going the same quantity, but they're phoning it in. They're just checking the box off. Like, you actually allow yourself to like be curious. I wonder why that exercise feels like that. I wonder why this, like, when you can be that person as a client, you have to be a teacher to get the same thing out of it. That changes your life and those around you.
Okay. I want to ask you so many questions. People, I can't get to all of them. I'm sure you can reach out to Lesley. But we got to switch gears here because how I met you was your podcast.
Yes.
Be it till you see it. So when did you decide, hey, this is a great idea. Let's put this into it.
Yeah. So one of the questions I was always asked is like, how are you so confident? And I was like, really? You think I'm confident? I'm like the kid on a roller coaster who's just like, okay, here we go. We're going over. I hope this works out. Like, I just think like that is like how I approach everything. I'm like, I kind of just like, I'm like going the whole time. And then you like land and you're like, oh, I did it. Like, that exhilaration of a
I got it.
So like, but I was like, well, clearly that's not what people are. They're seeing this confident person. So what am I doing? And that's kind of how I approach a lot of things in life, where people are like, how are you doing that? I'm like, well, how am I doing that? So I can figure it out and then I can help them. Right. And so I realized like I was kind of just acting like the person who knew what they were doing. And
I love the
I
roller
didn't,
coaster. Hey, let's just see
yeah,
what happens.
let's see what happens. So I kind of like to make a mess and break things. I didn't think I was this person, but my husband's explained to me, you like just go and do things and then you like clean up the mess afterwards. I kind of like, I'd really like to see if I like it. Do I like this thing that I just came up with? Let me try it out. So at any rate, the podcast was basically a way for me to answer that question and also to help people. Not everyone's looking for Pilates, but often, so like, even though I think Pilates is the answer to feeling more confident and stronger and powerful and taking care of yourself, some people, they're not looking for Pilates for that. They're looking for, how do I have more confidence, or how do I take the leap of something? So I wanted to create a podcast that could help people understand how most of us don't need to be ready. In fact, ready is a lie, and how to just like take the next step, do it imperfectly, take that messy action, and then hopefully if you like me, you'll be curious enough to try Pilates with me.
Get it in the back door.
Yeah, you got it. So, whether or not that ever happens, I do hope that like it really helps people, because it's not, I've decided that like people make confidence seem like this magical treasure that we all got to get to. It's like a mirage, and really I don't actually think most people that we admire or that feel confident in anything they do in the beginning. I think that they're all
So
just doing the best they can, and they're doing it before they're ready, but they're so be it till you see it is acting as if, and it's instead of waiting till when I have blank, then I will do blank. Like when I have the money, then I will take care of myself. Or it's like when I have the time. No, what if you were the person who had the time? What if you were the person who did prioritize your self-care? What that version of you do? How can we do it in 5 minutes today? If we don't have 5 hours, how do we do it in 5 minutes? And what ends up happening is when you be it till you see it, eventually you just become that person. And you might not even realize when that switch happened. It's going to be gradual, but it'll happen much sooner than waiting.
waiting. Perfect
Waiting,
people. Oh my
yeah.
God. You are just a bundle of joy for sure. You so are. I can't believe it's already time up. We have to
Well,
go.
Sandy, Joy,
It's very
you're a ball of joy as well. Like I'm feeding off your energy. So thank you.
well. I could talk to you for hours, but we have to go. We have to wrap it up. But before we do, how can they find you? If they want to do Pilates, listen to your podcast, or anything else.
Yeah. So if you like podcasts, it's Be It Till You See It, wherever you like to listen to podcasts. And if you are wanting to do Pilates with me, hi, I'm Lesley Logan. If you just go to this Instagram account, you can see the links for everything there. But it's onlinepilatesclass.com. We actually have free series for beginners. We have thousands of free tutorials at this point. And we're going on tour. So I won't be near you this tour, Sandy Joy, but in the winter we come to Philly. Usually we come into Lehigh Valley, so we won't be all the way in Philly, but we'll be in December. We'll be over in your neck of the woods, so you can come take class.
I have family in the Lehigh Valley, so.
Oh, well, then I'll see you in December in real life for sure. We're doing, on the 6th, we hit the road with the dogs, and we are doing 12 cities along the West Coast. Well, Central California, Oregon, Washington, all the way down to Utah. So big tour.
Okay, I love you. It's official. Hey, I got something to say, people. Don't worry if you missed it. You only watched a few minutes. When we're done here, I'm going to record it, and I'm going to put it, well, not me, but somebody's going to put it on all platforms. And Lesley and I would really appreciate you sharing, like, and rating it. And this is what my big takeaway from Lesley is, perfect's boring. Who wants to be perfect? Go out and do something wacky. You know, I'm feeling in the mood right now, Lesley. I'm going to go dance around the Whole Foods. That's what I'm going to do.
Oh my God, you should. And also, you're going to make someone's day because someone's at Whole Foods probably super depressed and down on themselves and judging themselves. And then you're going to be dancing and they're going to be like, why is that person dancing? And you're going to stop that terrible loop they have. And, you know, you're going to brighten someone's day. I love it. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to respond. I'll put in the comments below. I'll read them. But Sandy Joy, this is a pleasure. I'll be running into you this winter.
Yay! All right, everybody. You know what I'm going to say. Toodles. Bye, Lesley.
Bye.